Hey everybody, Gina Mizell here alongside Danny Moran in advance of Oregon State's Pac-12 opener against Stanford on Friday night at Reser Stadium, and it's prediction time. Obviously, Oregon State comes into this game coming off the San Jose State win. Stanford, on the other hand, coming off that huge win at USC last week, but Kevin Hogan, his status is in flux due to a sprained ankle. How do you kind of see this game shaking out?
Yeah, I think that really changes a lot of the just entire trajectory of the game, given that we've alluded to in the past when Stanford beat Oregon State last year, they broke out to a big lead in part because of Kevin Hogan's mobility and keeping his zone read and taking it 37 yards, I think it was, for a touchdown. Even if he plays, and he showed last week against USC just how good he can be and how accurate, but he played a lot of that game before that sprained ankle, and he obviously, don't quite know how he finished given how bad it looked.
Yeah.
But I guess he was going on adrenaline. Given that he's not practicing, given that it's a short week and they're traveling back-to-back road games, I think it's a closer game than we initially thought. I still think Stanford pulls it out. I'm assuming Hogan will play, even if his mobility is limited. I think 21-18. I think Oregon State makes it close. Maybe there's a 2-point conversion in there. Maybe there's a lot of field goals. I think
18 points is weird.
it came to me, and I hope it's I hope it's accurate. I hope it sounds good. But no, I think it'll be a close game is kind of just the main point. I think the initial thought of, oh man, Stanford beat USC, went into USC and beat them, is maybe tempered by the fact that Hogan is hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my early prediction and our sneak peek on Monday was 27-16 Cardinal. That obviously was before all this Kevin Hogan status influx came out, so that's my early prediction. Maybe I'll go down a little bit. Maybe I'll say like 24-16, maybe 23-16, something like that. Again, I think the 15.5 point spread for Oregon State at home on a Friday night with students back, I think that's a little bit wide, but I can see why Vegas did that based on how they performed in their one real game of the season at Michigan. So I think it's the point spread is a little bit tougher or a little bit wide, but I think Stanford still comes out with a victory.
And I mean, the biggest key, I think we have talked about it a lot, but Oregon State turnovers. I mean, the defense has played really well, with the exception of maybe the second half of Michigan. Part was because they couldn't get off the field and the offense couldn't get anything going. But Oregon State now, all 3 weeks has turned the ball over deep in their own territory at some point. In last week's case twice. So if they can eliminate those, they'll be in better shape.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we will see what happens on Friday night, but of course, until then, read all of our pregame coverage on OregonLive.com and in the Oregonian. For Danny Moran, I'm Gina Mizell. Oregon State, Stanford, Friday night at Reser Stadium. We will catch you then.